Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and with me as always, PGA Tour champion, fresh off his first appearance in the Masters last week, Andrew Novak.
Yo, we are back talking football. Had a little hiatus, but it's time to talk some draft.
Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at screenplay_podcast. You can also check out our website, thescreenplaypodcast.com. We're back. We had a couple months off there from after the Super Bowl, but this is our annual NFL draft series. This is part one of our 3-part annual NFL draft series. This episode, we got some great stuff. We're going to be doing mock drafting next week. Next week will be our full first round mock draft. And our final episode will follow the NFL draft. We'll be covering everything that happened. But this week, we got a ton of great stuff for the first episode. We're going to get into some Masters talk. Big stuff for Andrew in the podcast last week. We're going to be going to some storylines, some NFL news from this offseason, and we'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of the draft and what NFL teams should be doing. So first, let's start off with some Masters talk. Take me through your week, your experience, your overall thoughts. How'd you feel about the event?
Yeah, it's the best tournament I've ever played in. Everything they do there is just so top notch. The new player service building was insane. Everything you could possibly need was in there. It was run so well, and that just makes it that much more disappointing when you miss the cut and don't have another 2 days there to enjoy getting to be a part of it.
Yeah, I went on Monday. Super grateful you got me some tickets to go. Me and Taco went on Monday. That was my first time going. What an amazing experience. Like you said, run so well. Couldn't have asked for a better time. When people look at your score, I mean, you shot 7 over, but like I watched you play. I watched you hit basically every shot, and I don't think people understand the difference between 7 over and like 2 under for 2 days. Like the difference between you making the cut there is just like so minuscule. Do you feel that?
Yeah, the margins were so small on Thursday too. The course was playing so tough. It was firm. Uh, the spots you had to land things in were tiny. And yeah, you were getting punished heavily. And then Friday, it definitely softened up a bit, and that was kind of a chance to get after it a bit. And I just couldn't adjust to the green speeds very well, and didn't get any putts to go in, and got off to a terrible start and just got too far back. I had a little chance there at the end. I had a little bit of a run going, and had a little chance there on 15 to keep it going, and just didn't. It was. I don't think I was far off. I don't think my game was necessarily bad last week, but I just kind of same stuff that I've been fighting all year, where it doesn't feel like it's that bad, but it's just not really resulting in very good scores.
How big of a difference do you feel the course plays from a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday practice round from teeing it up on Thursday morning? Do you feel like the green speeds drastically increase, or do you feel it played fairly same from practice rounds going into the week?
Yeah, I think it definitely got faster as the week went, like from Monday to Tuesday on through. And then by Thursday, it was firm and fast. It was cruising. And I thought we were headed towards like 5 under winning the tournament. I thought it was really playing crazy difficult, or going to be playing crazy difficult. And then they kind of threw in reverse a little bit there, and softened it back up for Friday and Saturday. I think they were worried about making it to Sunday. Some of the guys I talked to, it sounds like Thursday was about as fast and firm as they'd ever seen it there. Uh, so I think they wanted to make sure they didn't lose the golf course. And yeah, it definitely changed. And with with what they have with the sub air and stuff on the course, they can change it so fast. Um, whether they want to throw some water on it, soften it up, slow it down, or suck it right out with the sub air, and make it very fast and everything concrete.
Where do you feel your nerves were on the first tee on Thursday? Would you say that was the most nervous tee shot you've ever hit in your entire life, or is there something else that is stacked up to
Yeah,
that spot?
I thought I was fully prepared to be like a mess. Like I thought it was gonna be horrible. I actually was significantly better than I thought I would be uh Thursday on the first tee. Which kind of surprised me, but I guess was a good thing. Um but yeah, I didn't it kind of like I got in tournament mode, and it kind of was just me going through normal tournament stuff. It was really cool to be a part of it. But I wouldn't say like I was ever really struggling with the nerves or anything. Obviously, I was nowhere near the lead or anything, but even when I was trying to get the cut line done, I thought I did a pretty good job of just treating it like a normal tournament, um, and just going through my process for each shot.
So earlier you spoke how on Friday you made a little bit of a run there on the back nine. For people that didn't watch every shot that Andrew hit, go look up the putt that he made for birdie on 14. Taco
Uh,
texted me and he's like, just go watch how that putt went in. What was going through your mind? I mean, how far past the hole do you think that was going if it didn't go in? I actually don't think I've ever seen a putt go in like that. Hit the back of the hole, stay there, drip back in the other side. What were you thinking on that putt?
yeah, I hit that putt in practice because it's a common putt that you'll get on that hole. It feeds down the hill, and you have that uphill putt. And I think I hit it like 3 times, left it short every single time, and then all day long, all I had done was leave it short on Friday. Because I was expecting the greens to be a little faster. So going into that putt, I just was telling myself, like, just get it there. Just hit it hard, get it there, get it there. And I might have overcorrected a little bit. And
You definitely got it there.
thankfully the hole got in the way.
That was a fun one to watch. How much money did you spend on merch, whether it was that week or did you buy some stuff during some practice rounds?
Maddie went and got all the stuff from the merch tent. I don't know what the damage is. I don't want to know what the damage is. It
Probably
was
a
a
good thing
lot,
to keep
though.
that one away from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably worth every penny she spent, if I'm guessing. The merch tent's unbelievable. We went late in the day, still waited probably half an hour to get in, but I mean, the amount of stuff they have in there, it is insane. I got some merch on here, not to flex, but so coolest moment of the week, from Monday through your time playing on Friday. What's the one biggest takeaway, the one coolest spot from the entire week?
Yeah, the whole tournament was great, but I'll still probably remember for like probably the par three contest for the longest time, just because having our 5-month-old out there in her little onesie and getting to walk around with Maddie and do that. That's something that I've watched every year. That was pretty special to get to do.
That's awesome. All right, so that was last week at the Masters. We're gonna be back there soon. Don't you guys worry about that. Andrew's getting back. Uh, this week we're at the RBC, a place where you have some, I'm gonna say, good memories. Last year, lost in the playoff, but to Justin Thomas, signature event. Still a great finish out there at Harbor Town. What are the keys to the week playing well at Harbor Town? I mean, you've played well there last year, so what do you got to do this week to put yourself at the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah, you got to hit it straight. You got to make sure that you're putting the ball in the right spots. There's a lot of trees that can give you some fits if you're not coming in from the proper angles. So it's a lot of planning your way around the place and being in control of the golf ball.
I like it. Well, good luck this week. I haven't seen tee times yet. You got tee times yet for this event?
Yeah, I'm like 12:45 on Thursday and 9 o'clock, I think, on Friday.
All right. Well,
Unless
good
I
luck
have those
this week.
flipped, but I'm pretty sure I'm 12:45 Thursday.
We'll check it out. We'll post something up there. Let the people know. But good luck this week out at Harbor Town. That's enough golf talk for right now. Now we are going to get into what this podcast is, a football podcast. So let's go over some off-season moves. We're going to take you through who we think had the best off-season. I'm going to let you start. You probably got a team or two. Who had the best off-season?
So I'm going to start with this first team. You could make a very realistic argument that this team signed the best defensive lineman, the best linebacker, and probably the best tackle in the market. They made the playoffs last year. They upgraded all those positions. I think the Carolina Panthers had a pretty darn good offseason. Now, maybe I'm being a little bit of a homer here.
I figured you were going to throw them in there somehow. Yeah.
But if Jalen Phillips stays healthy, look, I get that's a big old if. But if Jalen Phillips stays healthy, I don't see any reason why that couldn't be a huge sign. This is one of the biggest issues the Panthers had last year was rushing the passer. They just did not really pressure the passers at a rate that some of the best teams were. That was a big hole in the defense, and we had to get that fixed. I mean, on top of that, another big hole, left tackle, Ike Ekwonu goes down, knee injury. He's going to be out for a while. We go out, fill that hole. I'm being a bit of a homer here, but it's exactly what you need to fix that. You go out, you get a Devin Lloyd, probably the best linebacker on the market. That was kind of one of the places I felt like we were missing kind of a piece right in the middle of the defense. I think Dan Morgan has done a very good job of identifying every single part of the roster that needed to be fixed going into this draft to make it so basically we can take best player available. I keep using we and all this stuff. It's March. I'm excited. I'm sorry. Or it's April. But look, I'm being a homer here completely.
It's not out of the realm to say the Panthers had the Panthers had a great offseason. There's no doubt about
the leverage you gain in the draft by not being forced to take an offensive tackle. Like with Ekwonu out, potentially with this knee injury, potentially all year. I mean, it's a very significant, I believe it's patellar tendon. You almost were going to be potentially forced to take a tackle. Does that mean you have to move up for one? Does that mean you have to reach because there was a run on tackles? Now you have this flexibility. Now you don't have to go get a linebacker. You don't have to. If somebody falls, you can go get them. It doesn't matter what it is. You can take best player available. I feel like that's so huge. I get there's some maybe questions at running back. We let Rico Dowdle walk. But we got Jonathan Brooks come back. People forget that guy was top running back taken off the board a couple years ago. Now, 2 significant knee injuries later, not great. But still, I think there is absolutely reason for me to be excited, reason for Panthers fans to be excited. I'm going a homer pick with this first one for sure. Second team I'm going to give a shout out to is the Las Vegas Raiders. Look, obviously, I'm a big fan of the Kubiak hire. I think we talked about this last year at the end of the season. I was saying, hey, they need to go get Kubiak because Kubiak can kind of do a little bit of what they've done in New Orleans, where you get a young offensive mind in there with no expectations. You let him get in there like Kellen Moore and just get his young quarterback and go to work. Look, there's no expectations. Even if you suck for a couple years, it's not that big a deal. You just have to show some positive momentum. Then you go out, get the best center available, Tyler Linderbaum. That's perfect to pair with a young quarterback. He can help, shift protections, analyze coverage, or analyze the defense, shift protections, stuff that could be tough for a young quarterback. I think, the Crosby deal fallout, like, would it have been nice to have 2 more firsts? Probably. But I think that defense actually could be pretty decent with Crosby on the field. So this is a team that could maybe sneak up on some people. I don't know what the Kirk thing's going to look like. I think we're going to touch on that a little bit later, so I'm not going to go too far into that. But I love them going to get Kirk. Not that Kirk is a great football player, but one of the biggest things for me is Mendoza, I think, is the kind of guy that you need a little time with. Throwing him into the fire, it's going to be a big shift from what he had in Indiana. Not so much on the talent level, but just on the style of offense it's going to be run. So giving him a bit of extra time to assimilate to the NFL level, I think is going to be huge.
I'm going to touch on the Raiders because I have them here as the number 1 best offseason as well. They add Clint Kubiak, like you said. He's got a 5-year deal with the team, so he's got some wiggle room there to see what he wants to do over the next couple of years. On the defensive side, well, you know what? First off, I'm going to say this. A couple months ago, I said, would it be crazy if the Raiders got 6 wins next year? And you said, yeah, that would be crazy. I'm looking at their additions. Like, I think they're going over 6 wins. Not only did they keep Crosby, but they bring in Nakobe Dean, linebacker from the Eagles. He's got a little bit of an injury problem. Like, out of 47 games, he's only played 27. But when he does start, he's effective. 226 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 19 tackle for loss over those 27 starts. He is effective when he does play. They bring in Quay Walker, linebacker, former 2022 first-round pick for the Packers. He's had at least 100 tackles in each of his seasons with the Packers. So a very good player. And then they bring in Kwity Paye, defensive end. He's had 30 and a half sacks over the last 5 seasons with the Colts, and they re-signed Eric Stokes, quarterback. They're just tossing away $20 million guaranteed to people. It's like an Oprah Winfrey show. Like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a 20 million guarantee, you get a 20 million guarantee. Jalen Naylor, $23 million guaranteed. Kirk Cousins, 20 million guaranteed. N'Kobe Dean, 20 million guaranteed. Quay Walker, 28 guaranteed. Kwity Paye, 32 guaranteed. Eric Stokes, 20 million guaranteed. So even if the offensive side of the ball doesn't quite work out right away how they're thinking, I think the defensive side of the ball is going to be able to like hold them in games. If this defensive coordinator Rob Leonard can do anything with these players, I'm not too sure about him. He was with the Raiders for the past 4 years. He was the run game coordinator and defensive line coach. He's been promoted to the defensive coordinator. So if Rob Leonard can do anything on the defensive side of the ball with these players they brought in, I really like what the Raiders have done in the offseason. That being said, they also have 10 draft picks. They have 6 picks in the top 4 rounds, so it is likely that they're going to nail some starters out of the draft. They spent the most money in this offseason, $281 million. So, yeah, I think the Raiders they had the best offseason. I don't think there's any doubt about it. The other team, I'm going to say, had a great offseason. You can argue this one. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think the Steelers nailed this offseason. When they hired Mike McCarthy, I wasn't the biggest fan of that hire, but since they don't want to go through this whole tanking be bad for a year process and they want to just still contend, I do like what they did. I really like what they did. So they bring in Mike McCarthy. He's the head coach, offensive coordinator, Brian Angelichio. He was the pass game coordinator the last 4 years with the Vikings. So he's probably gotten some good experience there with the Vikings under Kevin O'Connell. My only issue here is Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator. Last 4 years, he was the defensive coordinator for the Raiders. It's his 17th year coaching. I don't know about this guy. I feel he's very average. But with the players that the Steelers did bring in, I feel that maybe the players can overcome some of that and put together like a solid team this year. So last year, the Steelers defense, 2025, they ranked 26th in yards allowed, 357 yards a game. It was a problem. They spent a ton of money on defense and they were giving up yards. They spent some more money on defense, but I think it was well spent. They bring in Jamel Dean, cornerback from the Bucks, 3 years, $36 million. They bring in Jaquan Brisker, safety, 1 year, $5.5 million. And they bring in Darnell Savage, safety, 1 year deal, former 2019 first round pick. They also re-signed Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, on a 1 year deal. So their backfield now, they got Jalen Ramsey, Jamel Dean, Jaquan Brisker, Joey Porter Jr. You got Asante Samuel and Darnell Savage as depth. You still got Cam Hayward, still got TJ Watt. On paper, this defense should be pretty good. I'm going to assume Aaron Rodgers is coming back. We're going to touch on that later. But, I mean, if this defense, these names can perform, like, I think the Steelers can, again, go up and put up 9-10 wins, get into the playoffs with these offseason moves. They bring in Rico Dowdle from your Carolina Panthers. I love this move. Their running backfield, I mean, this trio's pretty sick. You got Rico Dowdle, 2 year deal, $12 million. He is coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he's only 27 years old. You saw what he did with the Panthers last year. I'm sure they would have loved to keep him, but they probably just couldn't afford him with Chuba's contract.
We're paying Chuba way too much already. You can't double down on running back, which I appreciate Dan not overextending that, by the way. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. So you bring in Rico Dowdle, you pair that with Jalen Warren and Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson came out of Iowa last year, didn't do much last year, but you got those three in the backfield. I think they're going to be able to do something decent. And then you bring in Michael Pittman Jr., pair him with DK Metcalf. Like, the names here on the list, like on paper, I like what they did. And then when you look at their draft picks, they got 12 picks, and 5 of those picks are in the first 99. So they should really hit some starters, probably 3 or 4 starters out of these first 5 picks. I expect the Steelers, not a huge Steelers fan, but I expect them to have a good season under Mike McCarthy with these moves that they made, assuming Rodgers comes back. But again, we'll get more into that later. What do you think about the Steelers?
Yeah, I don't disagree that they made some good moves. I just, the question, or the quarterback question mark right now is too big for me to really put them there. I mean, honestly, even Aaron Rodgers coming back, like, I don't think that's that great anyway, but maybe I'm just being a hater.
All right, let's hop to the other side of the table. Let's go worst offseason. Which teams had the worst offseason in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the Indianapolis Colts. I am not a fan of what went down. I know Daniel Jones was off to a great start last year, but we talked about it, how front loaded their schedule was with easy teams, and then they got to the tougher teams. I know he got hurt and the Achilles thing, but that also is another reason why Daniel Jones shouldn't be getting $45 million a year. Uh, Quarterbacks have struggled coming off this Achilles injury. We saw Kirk struggle. We've seen Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's just also kind of older and washed. Deshaun had a lot of other stuff going on as well, but also couldn't even figure out how to get back on the field after the Achilles thing. So I think this is a very serious injury for a quarterback. Your footwork in the pocket, it influences timing. It influences the comfort level you have in the pocket. Uh, if you're not confident that you're going to be able to get the throw off, that's going to throw off all your mechanics. I think this is a very serious injury for a quarterback that, well, frankly, Daniel Jones has used his legs a bit as well to help his game. So I think that this is a bit of an overpay for what you're going to be getting at quarterback. And speaking of overpay, we have just sent Alec Pierce the single most money ever for a free agent wide receiver. I get he's a deep ball guy, but he's literally never caught 50 balls in an NFL season.
They
50.
must know
That's like
they must know something
three a game.
internally that we don't know, because like I'm getting some sort of like a I'm getting like a JSN feeling where like they know internally that he's going to be sick and we don't know that,
He
because like
had a great season, and
he
he
had a
is a
great
very
season,
good wide
but
receiver. But
that
he's
money was absurd. I couldn't believe when I saw that number. So it makes me believe that internally they know something about him and his play that
they
like
they
we on the
better
outside
hope.
don't.
They better hope. But I mean, that is so much money for a guy that kind of is just a deep ball guy. And if your quarterback is questioning his Achilles and can't really push off well and isn't getting good energy into the ball, that's not going to work very well. So I don't really understand that one. I don't necessarily hate the player, but at that number, I don't get it. Uh, and then as well, because of the Sauce Gardner trade, they don't have a first round pick in this draft. So I, I don't see them immediately fixing anything quickly there. Um, they had a few signings, but nothing that really splashed to me. Uh, Nothing that's going to, take them over the top here. So I think that this is this, the poor trend the Colts had towards the end of the year, obviously coinciding with the tougher schedule, I think will continue into this year. I do think we see a down year for the Colts. I know I predicted down year for the Colts last year. Technically wasn't wrong. It was just late. I think that kind of will show up this year based on just, I think, a poor offseason, in my opinion. And then next, we're going to kind of lean back into my homerism, but I think you might agree with me on this one. I'm going to say the Falcons. I don't like what the Falcons did. The Stefanski hire, I'm not as down on as some people. I think he could be okay, but they going out and getting Tua, I get that it's like not for much money, but like, what are we doing in this quarterback room? Like, who starts? Is it just who's healthy? Because they're not both going to be healthy at the same time. Like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of what's going on there. I think the wide receiver room, I would have loved to seen it boosted a little bit more. Dotson and Zacchaeus, like, not great.
I'm a
Uh,
big Zacchaeus fan. He's just like a really good number 4, but he's a number
I
3 right now.
all I
But
watched a decent bit of Bears games last year, and I would just see Zacchaeus come in and drop passes that he should have caught, and then Luther Burden would come in like for only a few plays just to spell Zacchaeus and just instantly do better things. Like every time Burden came in, like better things were happening, and then Zacchaeus would come back in, and it would just go back to being just kind of mediocre. So I'm out. I think that, like, borderline the only good thing that I like that the Falcons did is they signed Nick Folk because they are tired of kickers ruining their season, and that's a pretty good way of making sure your kicker's not going to ruin your season. So shout out to them for that. But I think that this quarterback situation is going to be a mess this year. I kind of can't wait to see it as a Panthers fan, but I'm not loving what the Falcons have done.
all right, I'm going to start with the Ravens. I mean, we can go into the whole Max Crosby debacle, but I really don't like what they did here. Vegas seems to think differently than what I do, but let's get into it. They bring in Jesse Minter. I actually love this move. So Jesse Minter, he was with the Ravens from 2017 through 2020. He held different defensive coach positions there. He won a natty as the Michigan DC in 23. Last year, he was with the Chargers. He had the number 5 defense in the NFL. Jesse Minter, highly sought after head coach. I like what they did there. The offensive coordinator here, Declan Doyle, 29 years old. Can you imagine being 29 years old and being the offensive coordinator for a football team? That is wild. I'm 29 right now. I can't imagine that. So, I don't know what to expect out of him. He was under Ben Johnson last year. So I'm assuming he learned a lot. He 2023, 2024 tight ends coach with the Broncos, but I see a big boomer bust here. I could see it going either way. This guy could be the next hotshot head coach in 2 years, or it could be like, what are we doing with this 29-year-old offensive coordinator? Because Jesse Minter, remind you guys, defensive mind. So Declan Doyle is going to be doing a lot on the offensive side of the ball. They bring in Trey Hendrickson, 4-year, $112 million. I think they overpaid. Not a huge fan of that move. They had to bring someone in, obviously. They figured they could get him cheaper than Crosby without giving up the picks. I do like them bringing in Jalen Haskins, safety from the Patriots. Not an expensive deal. 2 years, $10 million. He just played in the Super Bowl. I thought he had a decent season. And they bring in a guard, John Simpson. He played with the Jets last year. Just kind of an average guard. He was ranked 54th out of 81. So is what it is. They re-signed a couple players. Huntley, 2-year deal. They love Huntley in Baltimore. He's a good backup for Lamar. They re-signed a Woozy for a 1-year deal. They lose Linderbaum. My prediction was he's going to the Raiders. They couldn't make something work out. He does go to the Raiders. I think that's a massive, massive loss. Trying to find a new center there for Lamar, I think that's going to be tough. Let's look at their depth chart. So at running back, we got Derrick Henry, timeless Derrick Henry. But, who knows with Derrick Henry? It feels like at any point he could drop off a cliff. I don't know if it's this year. I don't know if it's in 3 years. We'll see. When we look at their wide receiver room, you got Flowers, Bateman, and Devontae Walker. Not great. Obviously, Zay Flowers, great wide receiver, but I think they need some help there. Mark Andrews is their tight end. I still don't get the deal from last year. I think that was a John Harbaugh thing, trying to screw the Ravens before he got out. And they bring in Smythe, who's a blocking tight end. So offensively, I really don't. Lamar is going to have to be running around and winning games for them. I just don't see what they're going to be doing positively on the offensive side of the ball that's going to get them to where they want to go. DraftKings, pretty much every book has them leading with the Rams at the most wins this season, 11.5. We'll get more into that. They're seeing something that I'm not seeing here. So their draft picks, they got 11 draft picks. They've only got 4 in the top 4 rounds. 7 of their 11 draft picks are round 5 or later. I really think they're going to have to do something with that tight end, whether it's get the best tight end in the draft available. Hopefully that player is still there when they're picking, because I think they're going to need Sadiq. But Ravens, I'm not a huge fan of this offseason. I think it's because they waited so long with this Crosby deal. We're going to see what happens. The books think. What do you think? The books think they're going to have a great season.
I think they technically won out. They got Hendrickson instead of Crosby and didn't have to give up 2 firsts. It's kind of shady how it went down, but I do think they still technically won out in that. I think interior offensive line is going to probably be a target of theirs in the draft. I'll be interested to see if they are aggressive with those late round picks, using them to kind of package to maybe move up, get some guys that they really want to target.
Because 7 picks round 5 or later, you're looking at 1, maybe 2 hits at the most. Try to package those, get something to move up. But
they had a heavy draft last year, if I remember correctly, too. I think they took a bunch of. They had 10 to 12 players. They had a big draft last year.
I don't think they brought in enough talent. They lose Linderbaum. They
definitely lost a lot.
I just don't see how they're getting
the money
that
was
much
tight.
better. Yeah. All right. This is my number 1 team who had the worst offseason. This team, they basically did nothing. They said, oh, shoot, we forgot about the offseason. And that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a great season. They bring in Chris Rodriguez Jr., running back for the Commanders, on a 2-year, $10 million deal. That's it. That's it.
They just signed Trayvon Walker. Well, they extended.
No, they re-signed Trayvon
Yeah,
Walker.
exactly.
They re-signed Trayvon Walker.
It was an extension. That was a big deal for them, though.
It was a big deal. I was going to mention that, but they didn't bring him in. He was already there.
They didn't.
So they re-signed some players like Trayvon Walker. He got 4 years, $110 million. Bunch of money for him. Congrats. They lose. I don't know how to say this guy's name anymore. They lose running back. Is it Travis Etienne or is it Travis Achan? What are we going to say on the podcast this year?
Either works. If he's cooking, we'll call him Achan. If he's kind of bummy, we'll call him Etienne.
I feel like we got to call him Etienne for now just to differentiate the two. We'll see how he cooks during the season. So they lose Etienne. He goes to the Saints. They lose Devin Lloyd. They go to your Panthers. They lose safety Andrew Wingard. He goes to the Cardinals. And they lose quarterback Greg Newsome. He goes to the Giants. Like I said, they re-signed Trayvon Walker. The quotes the team is putting out, the team is emphasizing continuity. Great. Real convincing there. I don't think continuity necessarily works well in the NFL. I think you got to try to get better every season.
In fairness, they had a good season, so continuity is a thing. I've pretty much seen the Panthers do continuity after like a 4-win season, and that definitely didn't work. So,
I mean, I get it. They had a great season. I like Liam Cohen as a coach. I just don't think they did enough this offseason. So now we look at how many draft picks they have. No first-round draft picks. 1 draft pick in the first 80 picks. So this team loses players. They bring in just a guy to the running back room, and that's it. So I think we're going to see a down year from the Jaguars. The Colts in their division, I don't know what's up with them. You don't like their offseason. The Titans, I just assume they're going to get better. I mean, they've brought in some players. Their entire coaching staff changed. They got new uniforms. I mean, they're trying everything. And the Texans, they've made the divisional round of the playoffs each of the last 3 years. I assume they're still going to be decent. So the Jaguars, they just completely forgot about the offseason, I guess. They were just like, we'll pay Trayvon Walker and just see what happens in the fall, I guess. So Jaguars, number 1 worst offseason in my books. Let's go to top free agents still available. There's still some out there. Who are your top free agents still available? Where are they landing?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a big name here. You just kind of asked about what are they doing on offense. I've got Stephon Diggs ending up with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they need to address the weapons question.
He's a Maryland guy, isn't he? He went to Maryland.
He did, yeah. I think him, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, that gives them enough. Maybe see Zay start working more of the deep parts of the field more consistently. Either that or let Tez Walker do that.
Diggs is pretty good with those 3 or 4 yard sit down routes.
Yeah, just some underneath stuff, stuff to annoy teams, stuff to make sure the linebackers aren't crashing too hard on the run game. If that linebacker's taking half a step out, making sure that he's helping cover the hook, then all of a sudden Derrick Henry's running by you. I think it would be a nice little fit there. I think Diggs is in that point of his career where he's kind of Super Bowl hunting for sure. So he's going to go to a good team, and I think the Ravens fall under that. I think that's where you see him go. Next up, I have Aaron Rodgers on here. I don't know if that fully counts because I don't know where else he would go. I do have him going to the Steelers. I think there's going to be drama involved. It's probably going to run longer than it should, but he'll end up with the Steelers, and we'll forget the whole waiting thing ever happened again by the end of it. And last one on there, I don't know if he's necessarily top 3 free agent on there, but I've got Joey Bosa, one of the better edge rushers still available. I've actually got him going to the 49ers. I've got him teaming up with his brother one last time for a little hurrah there. I think the 49ers could use a little defensive boost there. That'd be a little fun one too if they can stay healthy, which seems to never happen. But I think that'd be a fun little storyline.
Interesting. I got 3 different top free agents still available than what you listed. I'm going to start off with Jawan Jennings, wide receiver. I'm actually shocked he doesn't have a team yet, but I think he lands with the Commanders. They are number 2 in cap space. He's going to want to be paid a little bit of money. He's not going to be taking, $2 or $3 million. He's going to want a little bit of money. So if anyone wants to have a good laugh right now, go on Google, type in Washington Commanders depth chart. On their wide receiver list, there is 1 wide receiver on their depth chart right now. It is Terry McLaurin. So the Washington Commanders need some help at wide receiver. I'm definitely thinking they're going to draft a few, but I think Jawan Jennings lands with the Commanders. They're number 2 in cap space available at the moment, so they do have some money to spend on a player like that. Number 2, David Njoku, tight end. This is still a good tight end. I was kind of struggling to find spots where like he could land, but I was looking. I think the Titans is my guess. Maybe is where he lands. Their number 1 tight end right now, Gunnar Helm. Okay, 44 catches last year, but just a bunch of names there. They are number 1 in cap space right now, currently $63 million. So if they do want to go out and spend, I don't know how much David Njoku would cost, but you probably could get him for 2 years, 12 million, maybe. Maybe 1 year, 8 million. I don't know what he's going to cost, something in that range. They got money to spend. I could see the Titans doing that. If he does not land there, we keep talking about the Ravens. I think the Ravens would be a decent spot for Njoku to land. They got Andrews, they got Smythe, who's the blocking tight end, but David Njoku staying in division possibly, and going to the Ravens. They got $30 million in cap space, so they have a little bit of money to spend that they could do that as well. Last one on this list here. This is an interesting one. Bobby Wagner, linebacker, old dude. So he's 35 right now. He'll be 36 entering the season. Last year, still very effective, 9.5 tackles per game in 2025. I'm looking at teams that need linebacker help, teams that are contenders, teams that can afford him. The Bills. The Bills need some linebacker help right now. He wants to go to a contender. So when you look at Bills cap space, they only got $12 million in cap space. It's not a lot. I looked at Bobby Wagner's contract last year with the Commanders. Last year, he had a 1-year, $9.5 million deal with the Commanders. Could Bobby Wagner do a similar deal with the Buffalo Bills? 1 year, $8 million, 1 year, $9 million. I think that would pair well for both parties there. All right, those were our top free agents still available. Let's get into NFL teams, storylines. Let's get to the Raiders. You said we were going to mention it. Here it is. Do you like Kirk Cousins going to the Raiders? And when do you think Fernando Mendoza will start? We're assuming they're going to take him. Do you like the move? And do you think it's going to be Kirk week 1 or Mendoza week 1? When do you think Mendoza gets his first start for the Raiders?
Yeah, I truly do think it'll be whichever quarterback is doing better. Personally, I think Mendoza will benefit from sitting. For his benefit, I hope it is Kirk early. I think the offense that he ran in Indiana was so RPO heavy, very back shoulder heavy, which you can run that. You have Brock Bowers. Throw Brock Bowers on the outside. You can throw back shoulders all day. They have some bigger targets. Jack Bash, Dante Thornton. You have guys that can stretch the field, and you can do that, but I think that's not really what Kubiak's going to be doing. So I think him getting more accustomed to the offense, learning behind Kirk. Kirk is a professional. He's been doing it a long time. Mendoza strikes me as the kind of guy that will take to a veteran helping him. I think he's going to get better as he learns, as he gets more comfortable. So I think that this is a good situation. I think, I obviously schedules aren't out. I don't know when the bye weeks will be, but if you can get at least 8+ weeks out of Kirk, I think that's better. Like the longer it goes, the better. Mendoza will just be more and more comfortable when he goes in, and it won't be as the game won't be moving quite as fast for him. Hopefully he'll be more kind of in his element by then. I still think it's one of those things where, if Mendoza plays maybe 8 games, it's kind of those last 2 to 3 games of the year where you see kind of the little tick up on his production. I think it's kind of one of those things. The more reps he gets, he's going to get more used to it, going to get better. I love this move that the Raiders did because my biggest concern was Mendoza getting thrown into the fire. It's such a difference from what he had in college. It's probably going to look rough by week 1, but if you can hold that off a little bit, I think that'll only be better for him in the future.
I love this move as well. So Kirk's getting, I mean, you can read the deal, 5-year, 172. That means nothing. He has 1 year, $20 million guaranteed. What I like about this, though, is Atlanta is picking up $8.7 million from that deal. So really, the Raiders are paying Kirk $13 million to teach Fernando Mendoza how to play quarterback there. Kirk's got a team option, though, for 2027, 2028 for $80 million. I doubt they'll end up using that. But that is the cost going forward. It would be like $40 million a year after this season. I think they're doing a little bit of a Drake May situation. So Drake May, drafted by the Patriots 2 years ago, he started week 6. So they had Jacoby Brissett start the first 5 games, and then Drake May came in, and we all know what happens. Drake May goes on to win this, to play in the Super Bowl the following year. So I think they're following some sort of that situation. Um, yeah, I like this move a lot. We're gonna see Kirk and Fernando at bingo night together out in Vegas. It's gonna be interesting to see when that schedule comes out. Do you think that the NFL throws like them an early bye and then a cupcake the week after the bye?
I will be that
Like
will
a
be
week
one of the
6
teams
bye, like a week 6 bye, cupcake week 7?
that'll definitely be one of the teams where the schedule is going to be very telling for how it's going to go, because I do think you'll be able to kind of hand pick a spot in that schedule where things look like would be the best way to make a little shift.
Okay, Malik Willis, he goes to the Dolphins. He gets 3 years, $67.5 million, $45 million guaranteed. And then the Dolphins decide to sell the entire team. Do you think Malik Willis was aware this was going to happen? And do you think he would have gone there knowing that this was the type of situation he was coming into? You got Tyreek, he's gone. You got Waddle, he's gone. Let's look at this depth chart here. So you got Willis at QB. Achan's going to be there at running back. They're not getting rid of him. They've said that. Wide receiver room: Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, Tutu Atwell. Tight end, you got Greg Dulcich. There's nothing there. You're going to hand the ball off to Achan, or you're going to throw it to Achan. That's it. So is Malik Willis kind of screwed there, and the Dolphins just getting paid money to show up, or like, how do you think he feels about this?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, his career was kind of trending towards being over about 12 months ago. I mean, he was a backup quarterback that had kind of gotten run out of town in his first place he was at. And I think the fact that he's got an opportunity now is huge for him. I think he absolutely earned it with his play at the Packers. But yeah, you take the opportunity you get here and you run with it. I'm very confident the Dolphins are going to be spending a lot of their draft putting pieces around him. I can say that with some certainty. In the next 2-3 weeks, that depth chart is not going to look great, but it's going to look a little bit better with what he has around him. I think he is a little bit of a player where it's maybe less of about the guys around him and more about what he can do. Force defenses to have to cover him, and that can open things up for some other guys. I think this could be a fun team to watch this year because it may be a little bit just dudes making plays. Because it could be a little ugly, but look, it's an opportunity for a guy that didn't know if he was ever going to start in the NFL. So I think he takes it, and he's going to be out there learning with some young guys.
Yeah, they got a ton of draft picks, and they have 7 picks in the first 94. If you're watching the NFL draft this year, you're going to feel like the Dolphins are picking every other pick because it's kind of what it's going to be. All right, we talked about this a little bit. We keep talking about the Ravens. They keep popping up here in our topics, but Ravens offseason roster, coaches, what to expect. I said this earlier on the books. They are at 11.5 over under for wins. That is the most in the NFL. You know what other team has 11.5? Can you guess it?
You said it earlier, the Rams.
Yeah, okay. The Rams.
There's
2 teams. There's 2 teams in the NFL with 11.5. It's the Rams and the Ravens. As a betting man, I would take the under 11.5. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't think this team is set up for success this year. They obviously play in their division. You got Pitt, Cincinnati, Bengals. I'm looking at their schedule. I guess their schedule is not the most difficult in the entire world. Away games this year, you got Texans, Colts, Falcons, Panthers, Bills, Cowboys. Home games, Jags, Titans, Saints, Bucks, Chargers. Actually, yeah, those home games are pretty easy. So maybe that's what I'm missing. Maybe the schedule is easier than I thought. But where do you feel the Ravens roster, coaches, offseason stack up for this season?
Yeah, look, you're going to need good Lamar to show back up, but I think at the end of the day, like the biggest issue with the team last year was the defense. I think the biggest change that maybe Vegas and really people are expecting for Baltimore this year is you have a defensive coach coming in that is going to demand excellence from that defense. There are some good players on that defensive side of the ball, and maybe a little culture change, maybe a little schematic change, whatever it is. If this defense turns into a 15th overall defense in the NFL or 12th overall defense in the NFL, all of a sudden we're looking at this Ravens team a little bit different. This defense was awful last year, and it cost them multiple games. So I think you're looking for maybe if the offense, they lost some guys, lost Linderbaum, whatever. Maybe there's a slight step back on the offense, but a nice jump up on the defense. You still end up with a better team. So I think people are maybe giving Jesse Minter a little bit of credit here and hoping that that's a nice little jump.
Lockometer on Rodgers returning to Pitt. I looked up earlier. I was like, what are the betting odds that Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh? The only place I can find it is Kalshi. There's a 13
It's not even bettable.
It's not even bettable. There's a 13.6% chance he retires. So they're basically saying there's a 90% chance or better that Rodgers is coming back to play, and it's going to be for Pittsburgh. Where's your Lockometer on Rodgers in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a guy there's no locks, like it's Aaron Rodgers. Like I don't know, he could wake up tomorrow and decide he's going to play in the MLB next year. I have no idea, but this one feels pretty safe to me. It feels like Pittsburgh was somewhat intentional hiring McCarthy as well. It just feels like a move that was made to kind of lead towards this. So yeah, I think it's probably going to run longer than it should, but yeah, he eventually ends up in Pittsburgh.
Last week, the Texans, they pick up the 5th-year option on CJ Stroud. So he is in his 4th year right now, still under his rookie deal. But next year, they will be paying him $25.9 million for 2027. GM Nick Caserio said, I quote, "I don't want to say it was a no-brainer, but it was a no-brainer." So his rookie year, he reached the divisional round, offensive rookie of the year. 2 years ago, reached the divisional round. Last year, reached the divisional round, but we saw some pretty terrible play out of CJ Stroud. So if you're the GM, you're Nick Caserio, what would you have done with CJ Stroud's contract this offseason? Would you have followed suit, or would you have done something differently?
Look, he is your guy. He's gotten you to the playoffs. You just haven't seen the consistency you want to see. I think it is. I think it's expected. I mean, teams do this. When you have your guy and he's given you some success, you reward that. But definitely, this will be a storyline I want to watch. I want to see if the consistency can settle in. It's not like he has bad wide receivers. They've had injury issues, that's for sure. But you get Tank Dell back this year. You remember that guy? Yeah, he was pretty good. Nico Collins somewhat stay healthy. Jaden Higgins last year was kind of coming on. Like he should have good wide receivers. This offensive line has just been a disaster, but hopefully, you address that a little bit. And I don't see any reason why he can't succeed if he has another down year with guys staying healthy and an offensive line that someone improves. Then yeah, we got some issues, but hopefully a little bit of consistency around him will maybe allow for a little bit more consistency in his game, because it's definitely been disappointing after what we saw his rookie year.
I think we saw some terrible play out of CJ Stroud this year. Obviously, the offensive line was terrible, and he was getting beat up there. But I think I would have gone the opposite end of the spectrum here, and I would have tried to get CJ Stroud on the cheap for the next 4 to 5 years. I think I would have offered him an extension. I think I would have gone, hey, bud, you want 4 years, $180 million. Comes out to like $45 million a year. Now, maybe they did that. Maybe he didn't want to do it, and they do the 5th-year option. I don't know what happened internally. But if I'm the GM, I'm trying to take this opportunity. I say, we know he's good, and we know he's coming off a down year. Like, let's try to get him on a good number right now. So then a couple years down the line, like we're looking at this like, dang, CJ Stroud is cheap. I'm looking at some of the averages. Purdy gets 53, Goff gets 53, Love 55, Trevor Lawrence 55. If CJ Stroud performs well this next year or two, we're going to be looking at a scenario where he's going to be asking for what, 60 plus on average. I mean, I just don't see a world where CJ Stroud's not playing quarterback here in 3 years. I think he's going to get a deal done eventually. And I think by waiting, they're going to cost themselves an extra $20 million a year. So this is a situation where if I was the GM, if I was Nick Caserio, I go to his agent and I say, let's extend you right now. Let's lock you in at, let's see, Daniel Jones is 44 a year. I think it would be hard pressed to get him at 45, but I mean, if you can get him in that upper 40 range right now, like I think that would have been a great signing coming off a down year. How do you feel about that one?
The trend has just been not good at, like, that's so risky. Because, like, what if everybody's healthy, offensive line is better this year, and it just really is him? Then what? Now you're stuck with a deal. Like, I see what you're saying, and
Okay, so
definitely,
let's say
like, it could work out, but it's risky
this
with how
Texan,
bad some of the football's been.
this Texans team is solid. I don't see them picking in the top 15 in the next 2 years. Do you think that they're going to be in a spot to just let CJ Stroud go and then have to start over with another rookie quarterback in 2 years?
I
That's
mean,
the
if he's
scenario I'm looking at. You think
if
he's
he's
going to
that
get that
bad,
bad? Offensive rookie of the year,
I saw
3
some
divisional.
bad. I saw some bad football. I don't think it's likely. I think it's more likely that he gets back to that level. But I mean, you could basically tank your franchise for a decade if you get that wrong.
Fair enough. All right, Chiefs offseason moves. They released Jawan Taylor. They saved $20 million there. They trade Trent McDuffie. They save $13.6 million. They get a 29th pick. They get a couple picks later in the draft, and they get a 2027 third. They re-signed Kelsey, $12 million this year. They signed Kenneth Walker, 3 years, $43 million, $29 million guaranteed. Do you like the Chiefs offseason's moves? Do you think they're back to contending this year?
I think the moves, I think the excitement is up a little bit. I think the Kenneth Walker deal, like, that's pretty splashy. Whatever. You got Kelsey coming back. I don't know if they're actually like an improved football team with all of this, but it's definitely going to be exciting to watch. I think this should be a fun team. I think you'll see some more points maybe. I don't know if the defense is quite going to be as good as what it's been. I have
So
no
you're
idea what we're
saying
going
this
to see.
could be a fun team to draft for fantasy?
Could be. I got to go. I haven't looked at schedules or anything this year, but it absolutely could be. I have no idea what to expect with Rashee Rice at this point. I don't know if he's going to be playing football, not playing football. Um, so yeah, I think this one's still got to play out a bit. I don't hate it. I think they've been lacking a run game for a while, so I don't hate the move going out and get Kenneth Walker. Again, I don't know if they're necessarily improved though.
I think getting Kenneth Walker says to me they don't believe Jeremiah Love's going to be there at 9. That's kind of what that says to me.
I would pretty hard agree with that.
All right, Eagles and AJ Brown. They've been talking about this stuff for it feels like 2 years now. I don't know why we're talking about it so much. So June 1st, if they trade AJ Brown after June 1st, they'll give up $16 million in dead cap. If they trade him before June 1st, they give up $40 million in dead cap. That's a dead cap difference of $24 million. I don't even know why we're talking about it yet. Like, they're going to trade him, but like trading him before June 1st is absolutely pointless. So where is he going? Is he a lock for the Patriots? Do you think they keep him? I think he's gone. I think there's possibly already a deal made and they're just waiting for this date.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's like ramifications. So, like, could it be announced now but won't be sent through until June 1st? Like, is that a thing? Like, I'm sure you could do that.
A good question.
But yeah, I think he's gone. I think there's been way too much drama with it. I think it's kind of better for both parties. I think it'd be fun to just go ahead and send him back to Tennessee where he was in the first place. So that'd be an interesting little pairing there. They've got some money to throw around anyway. I think Patriots, I'm cool with that too. I don't know. Send him AFC for sure. You don't want that coming against you in the NFC.
All right, Kyler Murray, he goes to the Vikings. Do you like this move, and what do you see as the future for JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, I think it's prove it year for Kyler. So yeah, that's good for him. JJ McCarthy, he needs Green Bay. He needs
Ooh,
he needs LaFleur quarterback
okay.
revival camp is what he needs. Um,
Kevin O'Connell just can't
he
do it,
needs
and
the
LaFleur is
Malik
going to be the
Willis.
guy.
He needs the Malik Willis route somehow. I don't know if he's savable or not, but I think it's intriguing. I think it at least makes Justin Jefferson somewhat usable in fantasy. I don't really like Kyler as a quarterback, but I don't know. Maybe could be fun. Uh, it's definitely a different kind of quarterback than maybe what Kevin O'Connell's had in the past. So I'll be interested to see how that offense maybe looks a little bit different. But um, I don't know. He did some good things with Josh Dobbs in a week, so give him an off season, see what happens.
It's really all upside, no risk for the Vikings. They're paying him $1
Yeah,
million
right.
to
Yeah,
play quarterback for him. So
yeah.
you're getting a first round, first overall pick for $1 million, and the Cardinals are paying close to $36 million for him not to be there. So 1 year deal. And I thought this was interesting. In the contract, they cannot franchise tag him. So after this year, he's either gonna be paid or he's leaving. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with JJ McCarthy like next offseason, um, and what Kyler does this season. Because if Kyler plays well, he's gonna want a serious amount of coin. Interesting to keep an eye on there. Okay, Rams. Are they a Super Bowl lock? They were almost there last year, and they just got that much better. It feels like. What do you feel about Super Bowls? Actually, I'm looking at Super Bowl odds right now. So Rams plus 700, Seahawks plus 950, Bills plus 1,000, Ravens plus 1,100, Chargers plus 1,500, 49ers plus 1,500. I will also say that the Super Bowl this season is in Los Angeles. Um, again, Rams Super Bowl lock? Question mark.
This Rams team is really good, no doubt about it. But the NFC is strong, and there's definitely some injury concerns of mine with this LA team. Um, with that being said, I do think with a Los Angeles Super Bowl, you will have a Los Angeles team in the Super Bowl this year. I'm not necessarily saying it's the Rams, though.
You've been on the Chargers for it feels like 4 or 5 months now, ever
I
since they got
almost had
McDaniel.
them in my best off. I love what they did this offseason. But anyway, keep it going.
All right, let's get into the NFL draft. Let's talk about some teams that have potential to move up. Give me some teams that you think could, make a move, put a package together. They really like a player that might move up.
I think the Cowboys are just sitting there right at 12, looking real obvious. They got a couple picks there. They need edge rusher real bad, and so I think Dallas is a team to watch. And then I don't know if they'll move up just because they have so many needs. They may just use all their picks just cause. But Miami, if they have a guy they really want, I could absolutely see Miami moving up. Maybe Carnell Tate is just the guy. They got to have him, and they want to try and jump up from 11 to maybe 6 to go get the wide receiver that's going to make the difference.
I'm actually going to jump down to this topic for a second. I think the Dolphins are a team that can move down.
They could. They could.
like I'm looking at what you said. They have so many holes, and you want guys that can like.
They have a ton of picks too. That's what I'm saying. If
That's
they
what I'm
have
saying.
a guy they really want,
I think they're going to go the opposite end of the spectrum, and they're like,
just
we have
keep
a ton
adding.
of picks, and we need more. They're like, we have
They
11
could.
or 12, like we need 16 picks. Like
But
they're like,
I
one
could
first rounder is
see
not going to fix this team. We'll give you a first rounder, give us a bunch of 3s and 4s. We just
right.
need
But
guys on this roster.
if they're that convicted that Carnell Tate is the guy for the offense, trade up, go get him, and then later on trade down and amass more picks. Like you can still like play around it with it there. I think they got to do something on offense, man.
It seems
Oh
like
god, just dart throw maybe.
there's no wrong moves. They can move up, they can move
Quantity over
down. Just
quality.
yeah.
But
All right. I'm gonna go to my teams that can move up. So this is an interesting one. It's kind of spicy. Could the Chiefs move up in the draft? So they're sitting at number 9. They have the 29th pick in the draft. I think they really, really, really need an edge rusher. They need one bad. Could you see the Chiefs jumping up to 2, 3, 4, 5 to grab like a Bailey, a Reese, get a sick edge rusher. My thought process behind this may be the last time the Chiefs are going to be drafting in the top 10 in the next 6 or 7 years. Like, let's really go after like the player we need. Let's get rid of that 29th pick, package it with something else, and get somebody. Like, I'm looking at it, and I don't think that's out of the question.
There's just so many good edge rushers at the top of this draft. I feel like they can stay there at 9, still get a good edge
They'll
rusher,
get like
and
the third
then
or fourth best one, and that's
and
okay.
then they also need a corner. And there's some good corners late in the first round. So it depends. You could also get a sick corner at 9 and then still get a pretty good edge rusher. Like, I don't know. I think they could move up, but I feel like they're going to take an edge and they're going to take a corner at some point in time pretty early in this draft, and they're in a good spot to do both of those things with where they are right now.
The other team I see potential to move up. I don't think it's as spicy. I don't even know if it will happen. This team doesn't like to do it a lot. The Bengals at 10. I think they need some defensive help. Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs are both probably going to be in the top 10. I don't know if they reach them at 10. So if they can somehow jump up a little bit, get one of those players, I can see the Bengals trying to maybe move up a little bit. Let's go to teams that can move down. Who do you got teams moving down?
I think Arizona's in a pretty good leverage spot, picking at 3. You potentially could find somebody trying to jump up, assuming Reese or Bailey goes at 2, then the other one's still available. That could be your spot. Maybe if Kansas City wanted to get crazy, like you were saying, or somebody else jumping up. I think Arizona's in a leverage spot where they're going to just need guys anyway. So you could just stack picks. And then, and then I have Tennessee and New York. I think in that 3, 4, 5 range, somebody's dropping out. I think
I tend to agree.
All of those teams could do with a trade down, and it's just who wants to come up and get somebody. And I think this is where I think the Dolphins, picking at 11, know that the Browns need a wide receiver, and I think that 4th, 5th pick, like if they really want Carnell Tate, Miami jumps up to 5, maybe with the Giants, and that's where you go ahead and snipe the Browns and take your wide receiver.
Okay. Yeah. Like you said, I tend to agree. Someone in that 3, 4, 5 is dropping out. And for me, it's the Giants. So the Giants, they only have 5 draft picks total the entire draft this year. John Harbaugh just got in there. I think he's going to want to get a few more guys than 5. So I think they trade down out of that 5 spot. Oh, I'm sorry. Giants at 5. They only have 7 picks this year. And they only have a pick in the first round, second round, and 4th round. Everything else is later. So I think they can trade out of that 5 spot, get another pick or two, make it 9 picks, get a couple 3rd rounders in there, get some more players. I think the Giants are a likely contender to trade down. All right, let's go to some best fits for the draft. What college players coming into this draft would just be an immaculate fit, team and or coach or scheme wise for where they came from, the style they play? Best fits for the NFL draft.
I think Jeremiah Love ending up in Washington would be such a fun fit. That backfield would be electric. It would be so fun. That would add a nice element to that offense that they didn't quite have last year. I didn't think the running game was great. It would be really nice to allow Jaden Daniels just hand the ball off to somebody and not have to take so many hits. Hopefully keep him a little healthier. He's a guy that, can catch the ball, can win out of the backfield as well. Gives them a lot of options there. Next up, I'm going to go Vega Ione out of Penn State. He's a guard. I've got him going to the Ravens. The Ravens need interior offensive line help. I've got him as probably the best guard in this draft. There are a few tackles near the top of this draft that some think, like maybe Maui Noah from Miami, may end up at guard. I think they're still just kind of tackles, but so you could argue me there, but Ione is a true guard. He fills an interior spot that Baltimore could use, and Derrick Henry would definitely appreciate. And then lastly, we're going one more homer pick. I'm looking at this draft, and there is a freak tight end at the top of this board, and there's not a ton of teams here in front of them that need a tight end. And so I think the Panthers absolutely could end up with Kenyon Sadiq at 19, which is much lower than what I think he is as a player in this class. but there's just not a ton of tight end needy teams in this kind of 8 to 17 range. So I think he can make it to the Panthers. I think it'd be a fantastic fit because that is exactly what the Panthers need.
All right, I'll start off with Kenyon Sadiq. If he makes it to 19, I would be stunned. I would be stunned. I think
Yeah.
if Kenyon Sadiq is available for the Ravens, I think they got pick 14 or 15.
14, yeah.
I don't see there's any way he makes it past pick 14. So they need tight end production.
It's interesting. We both have the Ravens locked to two different positions. Oh boy.
I just don't. I mean, like, I think if Sadiq is there, I don't see how the Ravens pass up on him. They need tight end production. They just really do. Andrews is old. I know they signed a big contract to him, and their other tight end is a nothing catcher. I mean, they gotta get Sadiq. I got Jeremiah Love with the Saints. I think Kellen Moore could do some really cool things with them down there. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator with the Eagles. We all remember how Saquon performed when Kellen Moore was up there in Philadelphia. So,
So they'd have Kamara, Travis Etienne, and Jeremiah Love.
well, Kamara's basically done, dude.
I mean, yeah, but still, that would be the greatest backfield.
I don't think he gets past them, but I love that there. And then Caleb Downs, I think would be a perfect fit in the Commanders. I think Dan Quinn, defensive mind, could do some great things with him. Get a real leader, a real captain out there on the defense. So Caleb Downs to the Commanders, I think would be a great fit. Let's go to some bad fits. Who would be a bad fit on a certain team that could happen?
Yeah, look, I said the Cowboys need an edge, but really, I think the Cowboys need pass rush. So, Keldrick Falk is an edge out of Auburn, but in my opinion, he's truly a kind of a run defense guy. He's a run stuffer. He's very good at it, but I don't see a whole lot on the pass rush side. I think that would be a weird fit for what Dallas needs. So, although I do think that they grab edge, I think that would be a weird fit and probably not the way to go. And then this next one, I don't know if either of these two teams, like the Jets probably grab an edge rusher at 2, so they probably wouldn't take one later. And then the Dolphins probably don't go there. But Akeem Mesidor out of Miami, very good player, love the player. He is 25 years old. So if you're the Dolphins, if you're the Jets, like don't take a 25-year-old because you're not going to be relevant for like multiple years anyway. So that would be a weird fit for me. I think Mesidor is a great player to go to another team, especially a team maybe later down in the first round that could be win now. I would love to see him maybe with the Chargers or something like that. They lost or they didn't re-sign OA this offseason, so go ahead and get a proven pass rusher that could do that. I think with Mesidor's age, it definitely makes where he ends up a little bit weird.
I kind of do this every year, but Ty Simpson to the Jets for obvious reasons. I think that is a bad fit. Really, any player that goes to the Jets every year for obvious reasons is a bad fit. The other ones, any wide receivers to the Eagles. Like, I do think the Eagles are going to draft some wide receivers. I just don't think it's a great spot for them to go as rookies. You got Jalen Hurts, who's going to be throwing the ball 18, 19 times a game. Probably not to you. You got a defensive head coach. You're going to have low production numbers. Like, you might be a really good wide receiver. You might land on the Eagles. And after 3 or 4 years, like, you're just like, wow, I put up another 200-yard reception season. Like, what am I doing here? So I think it could be a career killer for a couple wide receivers heading to the Eagles, if any go there. All right, most important holes to be filled in the draft. What teams have some big holes? They got to fill it in the draft. Where are you going?
Yeah, I've got 4 positions here that I can basically guarantee these teams will be taking. I've got the Dolphins taking at a minimum 2 wide receivers in this draft. Don't care when. Probably a first rounder will be spent, but at least 2 at some point in time in this draft. That's non-negotiable. It has to happen. Same with the Browns. You got to take a wide receiver at some point in time in this draft. Again, that may be 2 wide receivers as well. You got to do it. That's just a lock. I've talked about it a couple times now. The Cowboys will be taking defensive line, a pass rusher at some point. Again, maybe even multiple throughout this draft. I feel like it's necessary. And I don't know how many years in a row I'm going to have to touch on this, but Houston will be taking offensive linemen. They have to. It's been awful. I would like to see, again, more than 1 offensive lineman taken from the Texans because you need to keep Stroud upright.
I feel like when teams land in that 28 through 32 spot, it's always offensive linemen that they're drafting. Seems like a very popular spot to be taking some later first round guys. Like you said, Browns wide receiver. I'm looking at their wide receiver room: Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Isaiah Bond. Let's see if Shador can play. You know, let's get him one more guy, someone who can play. I think Browns got to take a wide receiver. Commanders, I touched on this earlier. Again, go Google Commanders depth chart right now. There is one player on their depth chart, and it is April. Terry McLaurin, he's the only guy there. So Commanders will be drafting wide receivers at some point in this draft. They don't even need to be good. They just need to have bodies. They need to have arms and legs because you have to put players on the field. The Chiefs, I think at some point they got to address the edge rusher situation. People are talking about it. I don't know if it's going to be early. I don't know if it's going to be late in the first. I think they've got to address it. Chris Jones is still good, but he's getting old. They're going to take an edge somewhere. And then the Bucks, they're my last team that I think need to fill a hole. They need some linebacker depth. They brought in Anzalone from the Lions, good player, but Levante David retires, like big star for the Bucks. Like he's retired, linebacker there. Todd Bowles, his seat is starting to get a little hot down there in Tampa. He's a defensive coach. I think their defense actually struggled a little bit last year. So I think they take some linebacker depth down there in Tampa. All right, who are some players you are excited about in this draft? I'm guessing you're going to go with some Hurricanes here. Am I right?
I've got a few names on here. I've got one Hurricane. I limited myself because
Okay.
look, some of these guys, everybody knows they're studs. Whatever. I am going to start off with a guy you touched on, Caleb Downs. I've seen him sliding in some mocks because people didn't like his combine or whatever. I don't care. That guy is a football player. He is always, and I mean always, in the right position. He's a playmaker. He's a leader. Do not overthink this. Dude is a stud. He's going to be a stud for a long time in this league because he's just always in the right spot. Big fan of him. Kind of in the same sort of vein, Jacob Rodriguez, similar kind of thing. He's just a stud. He's always in position. He's probably a second rounder, but whatever team ends up getting him is going to be getting an
I
absolute
wanted to
dog.
ask you, why do you think he's a second rounder? Every time I watched him play this year, he's in the right spot, making big tackles. He's number 5 in the Heisman race. He's looking like late first, early second. I feel like we're going to look back in 2 years and be like,
Yeah,
yeah, whoever grabbed him early in the second round, like it was a no-brainer. Like why?
it's a bit of a linebacker thing. Teams don't really do it anymore, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, Sonny Styles is getting talked about, but he just went nuts in the combine. He's a freak athlete, but Rodriguez ran a better 40 than maybe I was even expecting. So, look, I think he's just a flat out good football player, and it gets overthought many times. It just kind of is a thing, and yeah, he's the kind of guy I would love to have on my team because he's probably going to be a captain on the defense for 10 years. I also think I love the second round this year. I think there are 2 nickels in the second round that are insane. D'Angelo Pons from Indiana, freak. I know he's undersized. Don't care. He's an absolute dog. Like, you put him on the field, he's going to make plays, going to make stuff happen. Same thing with Keontae Scott. Both these guys, Keontae Scott out of Miami, got my 1 cane in there. Both nickels from the national championship game, freaks, unbelievable football players. And whatever team's getting them are getting just tenacious football players, both very fast, both very physical, both play bigger than they are, playmakers. Another guy I'm going to reach out for my offensive line to here, maybe second rounder, maybe third rounder, Connor Lew, center out of Auburn. This is your 10-year NFL starter that you're going to get second or third round. He will just play every game for you. He's going to be good for a long time. I feel like pretty confident he's going to be a good player for a while. I think he's a dog. And then I got 2 wide receivers to throw out there, kind of later round picks. Chris Bell, before the knee injury, was unbelievable at Louisville. Loved the guy. Thought he was a freak. Thought he was A.J. Brown 2.0 kind of thing. You shouldn't be that big and that fast. Obviously, the knee injury, we're going to have to see how that goes. But still, some team that gets him is going to be getting a very good football player. And then last, like kind of mid-round wide receiver, Bryce Lance. Yeah, that Lance. Out of North Dakota State, Trey Lance's younger brother. I think they're brothers. Pretty sure they're brothers. I actually didn't look. I'm pretty sure they're brothers, though. Out of North Dakota State, freak, crazy speed, like 4.3 speed, but also at 6'3". Dude did everything for this team. Deep balls, everything, whatever. He's a freak player. I know he played a lower division, but he's got skills that are going to translate. I've got a lot of faith that he does well in the NFL.
All right, I had 2 down here. We talked about Jacob Rodriguez, but I want to throw a little homer pick in here. Skylar Bell, wide receiver out of UConn, 4.440. He had 101 catches this year, almost 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. Number 2 in the country in receiving yards. So he's looking at a late 2, early 3. You don't get a whole lot of UConn guys out there in the NFL, but it'd be interesting to see, how he does in the NFL, getting some UConn references out there in the big league. That's my only other player I'm excited about. I got those two. You got a couple more that you're keen in on.
I'm the college football guy. It is what it is.
Taco next week will give us a few.
Taco's going to have some. I'm very excited to hear what he's got.
Speaking of that, so next week, Patrick Taco Taiedo, he is our college football analyst. Last year, he did us the pleasure of telling us that Harold Fannin Jr. was the best player in the draft. He pretty much nailed that. And he said Kyle Monungai is a dog, and that guy is going to have production in the NFL immediately. He nailed that. So Taco's going to be back on this year. Excited for the gems he's going to give us. Next week, we are also going to be doing our full round 1 mock draft. So that means it's time for me to break out the sport coat. We're going to be taking you through all our draft picks from the first round from each team. You can also play along. What we are doing this year, I've been working on this for months. I'm super excited about it. I think it is amazing what I've created. Not to toot my own horn, but I created an NFL draft mock NFL draft game. It is going to be on our website, thescreenplaypodcast.com. There's a tab. It says NFL Draft Challenge. It works seamlessly on your phone. It works seamlessly on your laptop. What you do is you pick your player, where he's going to go, position 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 32, just the first round. You get 10 points if that player goes in that spot. You get 5 points if you're off by 1 pick, 0 points for everything else. This is a very, very similar game to NCAA March Madness. Like, you pick your bracket, you're in a pool, you see how you stack up against analysts all over the world. That is exactly what this is, our NFL mock draft challenge. We are going to be giving $250 cold hard cash away to the winner. Please join us. Please see where you stack up. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be on there. I'm inviting everyone to get on there and do it. Again, that's on thescreenplaypodcast.com. I'll make a video. I'll put it out there, show how it's done. Thescreenplaypodcast.com. Click on the tab NFL Draft Challenge. You log in. You create your NFL mock draft. We've got all the players loaded on there. We got all the teams loaded on there. You can sort by position. You can sort by school. It's really freaking cool. I'm not going to lie. $250 to the winner. Get on there. We're going to see how you guys stack up against everyone who listens on the podcast and lists around the world. Andrew, I think you said you're going to throw in a bonus if anyone can get a perfect mock draft.
Yeah, if anybody hits 32 out of 32, I will be flying you out to whatever PGA Tour event you want, and you'll have tickets all week. So good luck doing that. Nobody's going to get it done, but if you do, you will be blessed.
Someone might get it done. We'll see. $250 to the winner. If you can get a perfect bracket, you are going to any PGA Tour event of your choice, flown out there by Andrew. Tickets all week. It'll be a great time. So get on the screenplaypodcast.com, click on the NFL tab, NFL Draft Challenge, create your mock draft, see where you stack up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, next week we got Patrick Taco Taiedo, our college football analyst. He's been really good. Can't wait to have him on. Please get on YouTube at screenplay_podcast, like and subscribe. We are on socials at screenplay_podcast. Part 2 of our NFL draft series next week. Can't wait. 8 a.m. it'll release. Andrew's at RBC this week. We'll put his tee times up there at some point, but follow along. We appreciate all you guys listening. Excited for the NFL draft, and thank you for listening. Any last words, Andrew?
No, appreciate y'all listening, and enjoy the draft. This is a fun time of year.